Jammu and Kashmir, a beautiful place really. If reports are to be believed, then the military and civilian casualties are around 65,000 to 120,000. That's like the population of around two Liechtensteins or like one Andorra in terms of just deaths. And these are just the documented ones. And to think that this could all have been avoided. Thanks, Nehru. So, why does India, Pakistan, and China fight over this land? This is the story of why Jammu and Kashmir is being fought over. The lands claimed by India, Pakistan, and China have been fought over for centuries, even a millennium, as the region passed between different hordes and kingdoms, between Hindus, Confucians, Muslims, and even pagan Mongols. So, no wonder this region is being fought over even today. But the main reason for this conflict, like most border conflicts in the world, comes from the British. They can't ever seem to agree with themselves where the border is. Anyway, the land controlled by China is called the Exaichen. This pass in the past was used by traders very rarely, only because there were no other passes in the area. In the 1840s, the Sikhs conquered Ladakh and had an agreement with the Tibetans, who were under the Chinese at the time, to maintain their borders. This, however, was not clearly demarcated. When the Sikhs were defeated by the British, the lands of Jammu, Kashmir, and Ladakh were given to a previous vassal state of the Sikh, Gulab Singh. When the British started drawing maps in the 1860s, they included Exaichen within Indian borders. This is called the Johnson Line. The British made no effort of demarcating the border. However, this was at the time when the Chinese central government had been facing revolts and wasn't administrating the Xinjiang region. When they finally suppressed the revolts, they took regions within the Exaichen. In the 1890s, when the British realized that they needed to curb Russian influence in the region, they proposed a new border called the McCartney-Macdonald Line, which was supposed to be more defensible. The line was presented to the Chinese officials, but there was no response from their side. The British used both lines interchangeably, but from 1908 onwards, used the Johnson Line. Basically, the Ardagh-Johnson Line puts the Exaichen in India along with a little bit of Tibet, whereas the McCartney-Macdonald Line puts a significant portion of the Exaichen inside China. When India gained its independence in 1947, Jammu and Kashmir was one of the largest princely states, and it had a Muslim majority population with 68% of its people following Islam and 28% of the population following Hinduism. This, however, does not tell us the whole story. 65% of the population in Jammu were Hindus, while 46% of the population in Ladakh were Buddhists, and most of the Muslims there were Shia. This made Jammu and Kashmir a special case, since it was a princely state and not part of the British-administered India. It couldn't be partitioned on the basis of religion. This, however, would mean nothing if the state remained independent, and Maharaja Hari Singh wanted to remain independent. But neither India nor Pakistan wanted an independent Jammu and Kashmir. As I mentioned in the previous video, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was willing to let Jammu and Kashmir secede to Pakistan in return for Hyderabad. But because of them assisting Junagadh, he doubled down on Kashmir. Pakistan couldn't let valuable territory into Indian hands, so they assisted tribes near Kashmir to convince Maharaja Hari Singh to secede to Pakistan. This didn't work, and Maharaja Hari Singh asked India to help. In return for helping him, Nehru requested Jammu and Kashmir to secede to India. Since this was the only choice left for him, the Maharaja agreed, and so India and Pakistan go to war for the first time. This was the first of two wars fought over the territory, and multiple skirmishes were to follow. Today, Kashmir is the hottest topic anyone goes to if they want the citizens of the country to look away from any issue that is currently going on in their country. Whether this issue will be solved is a question every civilian wants to answer to. But if you're a politician, then this topic is your golden egg laying goose, and you don't want to cut it open to find out that there's nothing inside. I hope you learned why India, Pakistan, and China fight over this territory and why this issue hasn't been solved until today. Subscribe and comment your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching and stay safe.